This is a red figure oinokwa, or wine jug, and it's by the pan painter, who was the painter that made the Perseus and Medusa, a slightly comical and quirky scene that we've previously looked at together. In terms of this particular subject matter, we have got the personification of the north wind, Boreas, and he is abducting or pursuing Oreithyia, who is the daughter of King Oreithyia, one of the early and legendary kings of Athens. So in the scene that we're looking at the moment, you can see Boreas is on the right-hand side. He grabs at Oreithyia with both hands. And just a reminder of the types of situations we've seen women in art so far, especially vase painting. They're either victims of war or abductions like this, or passive or reactive. And to the left-hand side of Oreithyia, you can see there's another female there in a very similar mirrored pose to her, perhaps another of Oreityhia's daughters, and she's there reacting to the scene. Because this is by the pan painter, you can see some of the same techniques have been used on this vase as we saw with Perseus and Medusa. So, for example, as she flees the scene, Oreithyia looks back at Boreas behind her in the same way that Perseus looked back at Medusa. We can also see her legs through the drapery, just as we did with Athene on the Perseus and Medusa vase. We can also see those typical archaizing features of the manorists, of whom the pan painter was one. For example, the very ornamental rigid folds of the drapery, the elongated bodies, especially look at those fingers and those hands. But probably the most interesting aspect of this entire oinokwa is the reaction of King Oreithyia himself. And if we have a look here from this image, we can see sat behind Boreas is King Oreithyia, and he's sat in what is known as a traditional grief pose. So he's got his hand held to his head, and he's also muffled in his cloak or mantle, always kind of protecting himself from the scene that is causing him so much distress. Notice as well how we have got those indications of him being an elder man with the bald head and the stick. So there's really focus on emotion and character here with King Oreithyia, and adds a lot of pathos to this particular scene.